Welcome to Business Spotlight. I'm Rob Andrew, and today I am delighted to be joined by Simon Ritchie from BLOX. Good morning,
Hi,
Simon.
Rob. Hi, everybody.
Excellent. Simon, could we start perhaps by hearing a little bit about yourself and BLOX and the story of the business?
Yeah, absolutely. So hi, I am Simon. I'm the founder and CEO of BLOX. BLOX, we are a new business, new startup. We're working on a new product to help businesses with financial management. Basically, my background is in finance and accounting. Started working in finance, realized quite early on that I didn't really fit the mold of the typical accountant finance person. I didn't want to become a CFO, but what I loved was the technology side of it. And so I've spent my whole career in the finance technology space. And really there's a real creative aspect to me and myself. So I've followed that, and it's led me into working in technology business, working in product management, helping to improve and build out products for technology businesses. And now actually BLOX, we are a brand new technology startup, started just over a year ago, based in the south of England, in Brighton, building a new cloud-based SaaS platform to help small businesses with financial planning, modeling, management reporting, etc. So all the things that are really essential to run a business well, to really understand your finances, to have a really good idea about where you're going as a business, and the financial plan, the long range financial plan, and a decent budget. But they're actually really hard to do, and it's hard to get those in place. And the software that you typically, the legacy software that you use in this place, is really hard to use, really complex, and very expensive, really expensive. So that's basically the problem we're working on, is helping to make financial management, financial planning much easier and affordable for your small, medium business.
I see, I understand. So yeah, new company, definitely. So 1 year. Wonderful. Now, Simon, tell me what do you enjoy most about what you do on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah. So yeah, I love creating. So we're in this phase at the beginning of the business, where you're deciding, what are we doing? What are we about? Building your first product, whether it's in our case it's a technology product. So we're thinking about the design of the product, the experience. But I think my favorite part is working with customers, working with real companies. So it's something I just absolutely love to do, chatting to companies, helping to understand what their pains are, helping them to get past some of the hurdles and challenges that they have. And especially for us, it's all in the area of finance. So I just absolutely love learning about businesses, learning about business models, and my real passion, it's a bit of a geek thing, but I just love the data side of that. So helping to understand a business model, helping to understand how the different drivers of the business model, how you collect data, how things are connected, and how you can then, once you really understand a business model, and you can then you can start building up a plan, and then you can start figuring out, how do we actually improve and grow and build. So that's really what I love to do, is chat to companies, chat to sometimes finance people, sometimes business owners, about their business, how they grow the business, and help to put a bit of a substantial plan together, so they can see how they and plot how they grow their business.
Clearly, you've got to love the data.
Yeah. Yeah.
Simon, what do you think makes you stand out then from your competitors? Because there's a lot of competitors out there, I imagine.
Yeah. So I suppose the typical approach in this space is to pick up a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And so we train, so teachers train people on how to use Excel when you start out, and that's great because everyone needs to have a really good understanding of numbers and data, and it's one of those areas where you can get a bit afraid, and then you can think you're not very good. And so it's good to start. Using a spreadsheet is better than nothing, but there's normally a point where you're spending a lot more time manually updating the spreadsheet, keeping it up to date. It's very easy to get errors in the spreadsheet, and so that's the point where you want to be looking for a proper solution. What some businesses would do is hire an account, basically bring in an expert to help keep the spreadsheet going.
Yeah.
And so you'll hire a finance person or somebody who can keep the spreadsheet going and keep the errors at bay, deal with the size. But these spreadsheets, they can grow and grow. So that's where we would come in when you've outgrown the spreadsheet, and you could move your modeling, your planning over into blocks. And so our focus is really on making it really easy to use, so that when you really look at the other solutions that are out there, most of them are really tailored for larger enterprises. They've got all sorts of features and functions and bells and whistles. It makes them very complex. And actually, that was what I did in a prior life, was go and implement these systems, and we would spend a long time working on those. But we're really making it really easy, quick to get started. You can connect it up to your accounting software or your other systems, your CRM or your customer relationship management software, your accounting software, and your HR system, and you can get all that key data in, and then you can start building out a plan for the future. So that's really what we're about, is getting people up and running fast, helping people get to some really useful insights and start building a plan quickly.
So really a powerful tool. That is quite clearly, and so what I take from that is, obviously you've built it with those mediums or small size entrepreneurs, so that it's simple enough for them to be able to use, pick up and use. Okay,
that's right.
Just to educate me a little bit here, then, Simon, in terms of Power BI, so where do you sit in that space? And
so Power BI, there are some really great tools that help you with reporting and insights. So a tool like Power BI, Google have their own equivalent, and there are some built-in sort of options within a spreadsheet. You can do pivot tables and other things. There's lots of options. They're great for helping you to get insights on your data, on the data you have. And then where we would come in is helping you to then project forward. So it's forecasting and projections and planning. And so that's where Power BI doesn't really play. They're very good at, you throw in your data and you can analyze it, and they help you build out dashboards, and you can look at those on a weekly basis to manage and operate the company. But when it comes to planning, those tools really don't work, and that's where we mostly go back to a spreadsheet, and we start typing in numbers and building out formulas. But and that works to a point, and then and that's where blocks come in. So we really focus on the forecasting, the planning, and really it's the driver-based modeling, so that you can build out a longer range plan. So you can build out a 12-month plan. You can collaborate with all the key leaders in your business. So everybody can own their own part of the model. If you've got a scale business, you might have a head of sales, head of marketing, head of customer, head of operations, or R&D, manufacturing, and so each person can own their own part of the model, and collaborate very, very nicely and seamlessly. What you typically end up with in a spreadsheet world is everyone has their own spreadsheet. Everybody thinks they've got the true version of what's going on, and you end up with just absolute chaos trying to figure out what the actual number was. And if you can't, and in that, it's very hard to actually do what budgeting and planning is really good for, is helping to set a plan for the business, and then holding leaders to actually deliver on the plan, and then being able to then have a conversation about, we missed the number, why was that? Or we smashed our target, why was that? And you can't do that if you didn't really get that common aligned single version of the truth that we really would love to have.
Understood. So making life easier for the business owners and the functional leaders within an organization. Excellent. Thank you for that, Simon. My next question then is looking at the future, and I imagine in your space, correct me if I'm wrong here, obviously with technology, things are moving quickly.
Yeah.
So if you're projecting out 2, 3 years, even as far as 5 years, what do you see changing in your sector, and what are you planning for blocks?
Yes. Yeah. So for us, so yeah, we're extremely ambitious and optimistic about the future. We're building and scaling. There's lots of fantastic technology that's coming along, which makes it a really great time for us to be a newer entrant to the market. We've still got a lot of agility. We don't have 10,000 customers that we have to very carefully change the platform to. So we're embracing AI, and there's some really fantastic advances in the AI, and the pace of innovation there is fantastic. And then what we're doing is basically understanding what that technology can do, and then how do we bring it to bear to help leaders with their finances and with their decisions. So it's things like helping to understand, it's sort of auto-generated insights. So you don't have to spend hours and hours digging into numbers, but we can summarize and give you insightful insight much faster, and recommendations about how you might different scenarios that you could use to take the business forward. So there's lots of new technology that we're embracing. For us, it's really about growing out our customer base, growing our subscription revenue base, which is the core for us to grow the business. And then as we grow our subscription revenue base, then that opens up fundraising opportunities for us, and fundraising that we can then go and use to further drive growth. So we're in the startup life cycle right now. We are we raised a pre-seed fundraise last year. So we were successful in that. We raised £600,000 so far of venture funding to build a business, so we've got early revenue now, and looking to onboard customers and get to the next major milestone for us, which would then unlock a seed fundraise, and that would help us to accelerate and drive further growth. So that's what the future looks like for us. It's really right now, if in terms of the cycle that we're in right now, we're really focused on early traction with customers and product market fit. And then once we've reached certain milestones, then we'll be able to raise some of the growth funding that is available out there. It's definitely a really hard market for fundraising right now, but that would really help us to then to grow. Our software it has a sort of a global appeal from day one. So there's nothing that restricts us to only have customers in a specific region. There's no regulatory. It's really just about helping business leaders everywhere to be successful, but to get to market to a global audience, that's expensive. So
of course, that's fantastic. They're really ambitious plans.
Yeah,
that sounds very exciting.
Yeah.
In terms, Simon, of challenges, what are your current challenges, or what challenges are on the horizon that you foresee?
Yes. Yeah, so loads of challenges as a new founder. My background was more in the corporate world. I was an employed, had various different roles as an individual contributor, to working on a specific part, doing consulting, working with customers, and then leadership, working to lead and build and hire and build out teams, and then working on the product management side. So this is my first role as a founder. So founder, business owner, that is it. There's a you're responsible for everything. So it's been fantastic. I absolutely love it. It's hard. It's really, really hard. And I started in 2022, so I couldn't tell you whether it's just this market, or if it's always like this. I suspect it's always bloody hard. So yeah, so there are certain things where I've got a head start because I've done these things before. So building the product, designing the product, engaging with early customers is easy. For me, sales, marketing, that's the harder bit because it's not my specialty. So it's been really, really interesting. But I love learning new things. I'm not afraid to quickly devour as many books on a topic as possible to get upskilled. So books, podcasts, etc. Are my friends. So yeah, very much diving in and doing those things. So that's the challenge for us, is basically setting up sales and marketing and setting up those pipelines for the future. And it's always hard in a new business when the product is still evolving, maturing. You're still trying to work out, okay, how where is the product at? Is it ready for that type of customer? And then basically trying to get your sales and marketing processes in place, and then your audience and all your targeting in the right place, and then have a product that aligns to that. And sometimes you get mismatches, and so you have to work around that. So yeah, but it's fantastic, loving the journey.
Well, it sounds like you're really enjoying the journey, actually. So I'm sure it's tough,
Yeah,
but it sounds like you're enjoying it.
absolutely.
Um, for our viewers, then, somebody that perhaps is sitting here thinking about opening up their own business, if there was one lesson, if you went back a year, 2 years, and there's one lesson that you would say you'd learned, what would it be?
Yeah, so I think the biggest learning has been just about the finding the right team to have with you. So I would caution people to think carefully about the other skills that you want to either acquire if you can before, or find the people that you can partner with on the journey. So that's been a real saving grace for me. I've had a fantastic founding team that brought really fantastic complementary skills to me. So if you can do that, and if you can find the right people, and if you can find people that are really in the journey with you, so that in the boat with you, that's fantastic. The big learning for me is sales and marketing is hard. So that's been really tough. And then the other thing is just finding ways to navigate when you're building something from scratch. There's just so much ambiguity. The ground is not solid. If you're in a business, if you're in a more established business, and you're thinking about, how do I get from where I am to there? In a brand new business, there's not much solid ground around you. Everything could change. You could change your target audience. You could change your product very quickly. So it's hard to deal with, to operate in a scenario when there's that much ambiguity. So that's yeah, so
You
it's
need to be
quite,
flexible.
yeah,
Is that really what? Yeah.
yeah, being flexible, and then finding ways to help create some certainty.
Mm.
Normally what the way I do it is think about set milestones for people. So as the owner or founder of the business, it's really comes down to me to decide on some of those areas where you can't live in a world where you've got all that ambiguity. So you've got to just assess, look at the data, have a few conversations with some people that you trust, inside and outside of the company, and then make a decision, and then go for it and press ahead to a milestone, and then reassess in the future. So that's a learning from my side as well.
Understood. And that's fantastic advice as well. I think it's finding the focus and then remaining laser focused on it. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and then thinking about it in waves. So then you get to a point where you can then stop, and then you can open it up again. Where are we at? Did we get? Did we? And that's hard as well. Looking then, once you've invested and moved and done all this work, launched a specific campaign, done all this work, and then to sit back and assess, did that work? What did we do well? Did we not execute right, or is the market just not what we thought it was? And then really look critically and then come up with another strategy, come up with the energy to go again.
Yeah.
That's hard, but but definitely doable.
Excellent. Simon, so you talked earlier about living your life in books and podcasts. So share with us what book has stuck or podcast has stuck in your mind recently.
Yeah, My favorite book of all time is called Hard Thing About Hard Things by the author is Ben Horowitz. So he's an ex-entrepreneur, now San Francisco venture capitalist.
Yep.
But it's just a very good book. It's kind of a book of two halves. There's the first half is his story of building a company from scratch. He was one of the pioneers of the internet browser at Netscape, and then left to build a business. They raised a ton of money very quickly, and then completely lost it all. Spent it all. Had to basically sell off the major part of the company and then rebuild. So it's just a fantastic story about going public, being kicked off the stock exchange. This sort of, it's just a good story about the hard things that you have to go through when you're building, and it's easy to think actually when you start building something, the first thing that goes wrong, it's a sort of signal, oh, that you're not right for this, or you're not the right person, or you shouldn't have, why did you do this? There's these things that your mind will tell you. So I really like that book. And then the second part of the book is just advice on hiring, on driving growth, on all, basically sort of wrote out all of his advice on how to build a company. So that's my favorite one. I love that one.
Excellent. And
I
resilient.
go back to it probably once a year. I listen to it again.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
And it's so key, isn't it, as an entrepreneur and as as a fairly new entrepreneur as well. It's that resilience to get up and keep going. So
Absolutely.
yeah. Simon, then to wrap up, the last question I'm going to ask you then is perhaps give us a bit of what's happening in BLOX, any events or plans coming up.
Yeah. So yeah, we're busy working on a new version of the software that we launch very soon, but in September. We're adding some brand new capabilities, which is based on all the feedback that we've had from our users so far, as well as launching a new pricing plan coming along with that too. So there's some exciting new capabilities. There's a combination of the features that we need, that our users need, plus some exciting capabilities, some really innovative capabilities, AI, where we leverage a lot of AI to really try and move the industry forward as well. So that's coming. We're going to be out at events later in the year, so engaging more and more with people at some big events too. So yeah, really excited about what comes. I'm also very excited for when the kids go back to school, because it's very noisy around my house right now.
I understand. Excellent. Simon, so if for viewers to be able to reach out to you, where's the best place to contact you?
Yeah, best place is on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active. I post quite a lot. Just send me a connect request. Definitely put a message in there, because otherwise I really don't know whether to accept it or not. But that's the best place, and I'd love to have a conversation over there.
Excellent. Well, Simon, thank you very much for today. You've made data sound extremely interesting, and I know that's not an easy thing to do. So
there you go.
And your enthusiasm is infectious. So I really thank you for sharing your journey and advice as well. That's really been appreciated.
Fantastic.
And I wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you.